Greetings, I am Svetlana Alefira, NABU spokesperson. You're watching our November News Digest. Within a few minutes, you will hear about the corruption appetite of the former State Fiscal Service chief, new developments in the Rotterdam Plus case, and who got 8 years in prison for bribery. Here we go. Some die at war and some make profits from it. 3 border guard service officials colluded with law enforcers of the unrecognized Transnistria to organize the smuggling of draft-age men across the state border. This service cost $5,000. Clients came through social media chats. Last month, NABU, SAPU and the SSU military counterintelligence exposed the scheme. All participants became suspects. In wartime, not only people are smuggled across the border, but also large sums of cash. A man tried to hide more than $700,000 crossing a checkpoint in the Odessa region. The funds were confiscated and had to remain with the customs. However, an SBI investigator arrived at the scene and seized them without any reason. Later, he illegally returned the money to the owner. All this came in sight of NABU detectives who served the officer with the suspicion notice. The head of the village council in the Kiev region misappropriated funds under the pretext of building a kindergarten. To this end, he involved the chief accountant and 3 directors of the companies, one of which won the bid. By forging the acts of completed works, overestimating the cost of materials and paying for fake services, the group managed to embezzle 270 million hryvnias. As you might guess, the promised kindergarten was not built. All fraudsters got suspicion notices from NABU. The case of attempted $5 million bribery of NABU and SAPU leadership had new developments. One of the accused was offered a plea deal for $1.8 million by persons who claimed to have proper connections with prosecution. He decided not to tempt fate and went to NABU. The fraudsters were caught red-handed, served with charges, and remained in custody. To be continued. Here we have another case of declaration misstatements worth almost 1.8 million hryvnias. A Ukrainian MP failed to indicate in his 2020 declaration the income and a car of the person with whom he lived and had mutual obligations. Moreover, he forgot he had used his son's SUV. All this led to criminal proceedings. The case has already gone to court. A suspect in the case of embezzling 6.5 million hryvnias from Держinformuse state enterprise was extradited to Ukraine after 5 years of hiding. At the request of NABU and SAPU, she was detained in Germany. The High Anti-Corruption Court has already chosen a precautionary measure. The investigation is ongoing. Let's proceed to the sentences. An ex-deputy general director of Eastern Ore Dressing Combine was sentenced to 9 years in prison and his assistant, the director of the trading house Eco Service, to 8 years in prison. The court found them guilty of embezzling over 25 million hryvnias from the combine. All their property is subject to confiscation. An ex-chairman of the board of Ukragro-Leasing National Joint Stock Company was sentenced to 4 years in prison for causing losses to the company, worth almost 5 million hryvnias. The court also ruled that convicts fully recover the cost damage and forfeit 181,000 hryvnias posted earlier in bail. A judge in the Severodonetsk City Court was imprisoned for 10 years for accepting a $4,000 bribe. The court ruled to confiscate all convicts' property and deprived him of the right to hold the position of judge for a period of 3 years. And finally, 4 persons guilty of causing more than 7 million hryvnias in losses to Elektrovazhmash state enterprise were imprisoned for 3.5 to 4 years and fined 70,000 hryvnias each. 3 of them were deprived of the right to hold certain managerial position for a period of up to 3 years. NABU employees are actively involved in the fight against the Russian occupiers. In November, Minister of Defense Oleksiy Reznikov awarded 51 bureau employees with medals for assistance to the armed forces of Ukraine and certificates. 15 employees were honored with firearms. Major Taras Pona, a NABU Special Operations officer who died near Bakhmut, was posthumously awarded the Badge of Honor. You have watched the November top news from NABU. Check our website for more exposures, investigations and cases in court, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos. Stand with Ukraine!